morning and welcome to the comparison video between the 1080 version 10 and the 880 version 10. Roll the beauty shot. There is no doubt that the 1080 and the 880 has been this winter's big success at our store, and there has been no competition at all. It's kind of sad for the Triumph, which is a fantastic shoe, that the 1080 and the 880 came out this year stronger than ever. In fact, it's been such a big success that we have trouble having enough shoes at our store at all times. I've done separate videos of both shoes, but today I'm going to do one video comparing both of them against each other. And we're doing this at this beautiful football field, which is surrounded by a really nice little track. I'm going to do pyramid intervals today, and I'm going to do half in one shoe, half in the other. But first, let me do a little bit of a comparison between the two models. Okay, so with both of these shoes, the big new thing is the midsole. It's the Fresh Foam X that's from the 1080 that's coming to the 880. There's a little bit of difference between the construction of it. This one, the 1080, has a 30mm heel, 22 millimeters in the front. That's an 8mm offset. The 880 has a 28 to 18mm, and that's 10mm offset. There's also a little bit slight of a difference here. You can see there's a little bit more of a black foam, which I actually can't find online what it actually is. It's supposed to be like higher return foam under the pressure points of your forefoot. Okay, and the next comparison is the weight of the shoe. So these two compared, the 1080 is a little bit lighter. So it's 286 in the men's US 9, and the 880 is 292 grams. So literally no difference. It's 6 grams between the two shoes. This one has a little bit more foam. This one has a little bit heavier of an upper. The upper is the biggest thing and the biggest difference between these shoes. And that is with the 1080 with a little bit of a rubbery upper with a lot of hold around the midfoot and right here in the heel. 880 has a more normal conservative upper, which has a lot more hold on the entire foot and without the rubbery fabric of the 1080. A lot of people seem to criticize the tongue of the New Balance shoes, especially because it goes really high on the foot and because it's thick. And if you ask me, that's complete bullshit, but everybody has their opinion, and my subjective opinion, which is from a Nordic country's point of view, this is not too thick, and I actually like it being higher than having a thin tongue sticking into my foot all the time. Especially if you want to do a runner's knot, then it's actually nice to have a high tongue so you can actually get more laces in contact with your tongue instead of having the laces hit your foot. So both these tongues are, in my opinion, very, very good, and they're not even close to being the thickest on the market. I have about 200K in each of these shoes, and I must admit that I actually don't feel that much of a difference between the two. It's almost like I have to close my eyes, get all my senses going to actually notice a little bit of a difference, and I think it's mainly goes to the 1080 because of it's a little bit lighter and it's a little bit more bouncy when I run in it. But today I'm gonna try and get a little bit deeper into it, and I'm doing that with the pyramid intervals, half and half in different shoes. that was a really good session. 8 intervals, 200, 400, 600, 800, and then 800, 600, 400, 200 again. And after each interval I had a break, and it was the same amount of time that I used on the previous interval. So great session. If you want to try it out, just try it out. It's super easy to do. Just find a spot where you're comfortable, you can run around or whatever. I like to have it a little bit flat. I like to do it in circles so I stay in one place, don't have to figure out where to run. Don't want to think too much. I have some talking points after I finished with the running in both shoes. Just taking one on, so okay. So here's the deal. First talking point is the upper fit. I already noticed this when I started warming up, and I actually ran back and forth here, and I had one shoe on each foot. Just trying to notice the subtle differences. There are no subtle differences. If you have these two on, there's a huge difference. So the 1080 has like a really hard hold here and right on top, maybe upper part of the laces, but in the forefoot there's absolutely no hold. So when I ran in this, my feet like tighten up, and they kind of like, I don't want to lose grip, I don't want to lose grip, I don't want to like roll around in the shoe. So they tighten up and they can't relax. And then when I put this on, it just relaxes automatically. And that's because it's, yeah, the hold is just uniform. And actually I had some issues with heel slippage as well in this shoe that I actually haven't had earlier. And I think it's because I went from a shoe that just fits me so well in the 880 over to the 1080. And I actually thought and hoped I was a little bit wrong about this, but it feels like it's more than I actually thought when I compared the two. Lightness wise, this one feels a little bit lighter, but that's just in the forefoot. Overall, they're very, very similar. The tongue is, as people say, a little bit thicker. I don't notice that much. My feet doesn't sweat as much, and it's not 30 plus degrees outside, so I'm feeling really comfortable. Weight difference, can't say I noticed anything. I was more tired when I ran in this, and that's only because I did this last. And I actually really like this shoe on, the lightness of it at least. But 6 grams in a US 9, there's almost no difference. Responsiveness of midsole, I've said it earlier, and I think I'm still agreeing with this, but I don't feel that much of a difference. I think the 1080 is a little bit more fun to run in. I said magic, and a guy like commented, "What is magic? What's this tiny magical thing about this shoe?" And it's just, I think it's a little bit more bouncy. I think it's the rocker shape. It's hard to pinpoint what actually makes me like this shoe more. Overall ride, very, very similar. I actually don't think there's much of a difference. I think the first impression of this is a huge difference from the first impression of this. Mainly because this feels a lot more bouncy and has a lot more of a soft outside. Apart from that, I think it's very similar. Cornering. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know if this one was better or this one was better, because I did some 90 degrees turns on the 200 meter and 400 meter intervals, and I didn't feel much of a difference. I am still a stronger believer that a good hold here and around the heel is much more important than a good hold around the forefoot when it comes to cornering. So there's not a big difference corner wise. I think I put a little bit less trust in this shoe. If I would choose, I would probably do the 880 on this one too. I've seen a lot of people have both these shoes right to me, and it seems that a lot of people use this the 1080 to run longer in and the 880 to run shorter in. And I can see why, because it's a little bit more of a cushioning ride here and a little bit of a less cushioned. It's just, yeah, it's very, very small amount less cushioning. But for me, I would rather use this one for shorter runs and this one for the longer runs. And that's mainly because I'm so much more comfortable in this. And if I'm going to use some time in it, I want to use the longest amount of time in this shoe compared to the 1080. One thing that I actually didn't say earlier in this video about the comparison between these two, and that's actually one thing that I've seen at the store, because we do running tests on treadmills to see which one is more stable, and it's actually alternating between these two, and I think it's actually really smart. So this one has a lot of hold here, It has a lot of laser perforated holes on the outside midsole, which makes it a little bit softer here. So people who land really, really far on the outside of the foot and further back might get a little bit better of a result stability-wise on this one. Overall, this one is a little bit more stable because the uniform upper, yeah, it just holds a little bit better. But for some people, this one could be as well. So the main thing about this is that for me, I would choose the 880, but it's a very subjective opinion, and it's 100% on the upper. The thing is, I represent maybe half of the people here, because the other half really, really loves the 1080, and that's why I encourage you to go to a store. Especially now in the COVID-19 times, go to a store if it's open, try out both shoes, see if you can run in them on a treadmill or something like that in the store to check them out and see which one you like better. Because what I like isn't necessarily what you like. Both shoes, fantastic shoes. When it comes to the difference, it depends. All depends on what you like. That's it for this video. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you like running related content, then subscribe to my channel. If you have any shoes that you want me to review, because I'm lacking a little bit in that department right now. I don't have a lot of ideas and I'm waiting for a couple of shoes. So if you have a shoe that you want me to try to review, then I will see if I can get that fixed. Anyways, have a great day. Have a fantastic run, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.